Hello, Andrea.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. So we're here at the E-show in Barcelona, and
Yes.
Ricardo just introduced me to you, and you have a very interesting job profile. But first, a little bit of background. What did you do before, and how did you get into e-commerce and CRO?
Yeah, well, I come from a very different background. I am a lawyer, actually, and I started in the e-commerce world in a big company, big retail fashion company, coordinating the e-commerce for many countries, more than 30 countries. So that was my first job. It was quite a challenge.
So you didn't like being a lawyer, or just how did that happen?
It was very boring for me. Oh, yeah. I think many of the lawyers of my generation become lawyers because they think it's a very important career, and because we watched Ali McBeal. So yeah, no, I'm just joking. I love my career, my first career.
Yeah.
But it got very boring, and like doing the same stuff every time. I was a business lawyer, building companies, making contracts. So at the start, it was very interesting because there were all new things, but then it becomes very boring, and I like having a more active and I don't know how to say it in English, like doing many different things and keep on learning. And being a lawyer wasn't a good choice.
So here's e-commerce.
Yeah, I had the opportunity back in my country. I am from Venezuela, to build a company from the ground up, which was an online insurance company. So it was the digitalization of the whole process. I run it, and I fell in love with the digital business. So I said, like, this is my thing. I'm going to go that way. So
Yeah.
I came to Spain. I studied e-commerce, internet business, and I ended up in that big fashion retail company, coordinating all of the teams and learning a lot about e-commerce, and that led me to the CRO area. So
Yeah.
that's
So-
my story.
Did you have any experience then with experimenting or doing user research before outside of e-commerce?
No, I didn't have any experience. I studied it in the university. I got the specialization in e-commerce. It was all conceptual
yeah.
for me. Like, okay, this exists and it's
Yeah.
quite cool, but I had never done it.
Yeah.
But then I went to this big company and they did a lot of it.
Yeah.
So I got in touch with it very fast, and it was a big deal. So I was like having a lot of experience very fast.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine. And in the legal space, you don't do a lot of experimentation, I guess.
No. No,
So
not
that-
at all. It's
that's-
like
That's a different experience.
everything is secure, everything is already tested. You don't have to invent
Yeah.
any new things.
Yeah.
This is the whole country. In e-commerce and in fashion,
Yeah.
it's fast.
Yeah.
It's very fast. So
Yeah.
you are doing many things very fast.
Exactly.
And everything has to be very well fundamented. So it's a very good place to get a lot of experience very fast.
Yeah, with legal, the rules are written out. There are books with all the
Exactly.
rules, and with e-commerce, how customers behave. We don't have those rule books, unfortunately, and it's always a big surprise what happens. And it's also, like you said, it changes really fast.
Customers create the rules.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
you have to follow them.
But they're not giving you a book with the rules.
No, and that's the amazing thing.
Yeah, that's fun. So, and what do you do now?
Well, right now I am in Flat 101. I work with Ricardo, who runs the CRO Cafe podcast in Spanish. I work in this agency, and I work in the role of business development. Okay, so what I do is I listen to the clients,
Yeah.
listen to their needs, and help them understand what is it that they need in the digital world. so that we can serve them with a good service that fulfills their needs and gets them their business to work better.
Yeah. Yeah, and Ricardo just told me about you that you're not only helping clients that want CRO, and then you help them being serviced and providing all those services, but you also help those clients that have no idea that they need CRO.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really interesting one. That there are many companies out there that, whether they call it CRO or not, but they need some form of better connection with their users and figuring out what they actually want to become a better company.
Exactly.
So how do you approach that?
Well, it's I don't have like this rule book, you know.
Yeah.
There's not a written book about how to do it, but what I focus in doing is listening, just listening a lot and asking many questions.
Yeah.
Because there are many clients that come with a fixed idea in their minds because they think they need something, like, oh, we need paid traffic, or we need to work on SEO, or I don't know, we need to build our website again because it's not working.
Let's redesign and spend way more money on AdWords again.
Exactly. So I just listen to their first input, and then I just start asking why do you think you need this?
Yeah.
Which is the key objective of your company in this moment? Which are your pain points right now?
Yeah.
And when they answer to this, the whole picture changes, and they start like, it's a little bit of coaching, I think.
Yeah.
Like, why are you calling me? What is it that it's really painful for you in your business right now? And then they might end up needing something completely different to what they are asking in the first place.
Yeah. Do these companies, like, are they assuming that the website is just a static thing mostly, and it's just there? There's no way to optimize it. It's just there, and we need to fix. We can fix the traffic. We can send more people to there, but they're assuming, okay, this is just how it is, or?
Yeah, I think it depends on the level of maturity of the companies.
Yeah.
So some of them really understand that their website is a live thing that has to be changing.
Yeah.
Those are usually big companies that have a lot of experience in this.
Yeah.
But there are other people or other companies that think the way you are telling.
Yeah.
Like, this is one thing that we fix it and it's okay.
Yeah.
So the work of the business development in this kind of agencies that offer CRO, that offer digital services, we have to like teach the clients a little bit about how it works, and then they understand that maybe they were coming searching for something and they need something completely different.
Yeah.
So that's when you start explaining them what CRO is, how it works, what they can expect, because sometimes there are like lately there are a lot of people coming like, I need CRO. And they have like this idea of CRO that's going to work in 2 weeks, and they are going to do 2 tests and everything's going to be already changed. So we need to bring them to earth and explain what it is and explain how it works and set real expectations. And that's one of the key things we must do when we offer this service.
Yeah, it was already a great start that people are asking for CRO, at least. That's the first step, right? we should be happy that people are starting, or companies are starting to ask for CRO services. So let's start there. That's very good. Then we can start educating them on how to do it. And on that education part, I mean, in the podcast we're often talking about building this culture of experimentation and trying to get people in the same mindset. With those companies that have no idea about CRO, where do you start? Do you start trying to educate them on the teams that are executing it, so like the product teams or the e-commerce teams? Are you trying to work with them first, or do you first try to work with their management and try to get them to see the value of CRO and doing this? So where do you start?
Yeah, my main touch point with the companies are the people responsible of the projects. So I start with them.
Yeah.
I get them to understand what it is, making a very, very easy exercise that is comparing an online store with a physical store. I get them to understand that everything is just the same.
Yeah.
So when you get into a store and you touch the garments, for example, well, that's the PDP.
Yeah.
When you can touch it, when you can see it, when you can see the price tag, that's the PDP, okay? And then the search engine, that's the seller that is there, and you can ask him, oh, do you have this T-shirt in another color? Can you get me a black dress, please? Or that's the search engine machine. It's very important. So I just start telling them like all of these similarities, and then I explain them how we can improve all the experience, getting data and understanding. Like, just imagine you can have someone inside the changing room asking the client what he's thinking when he's trying out a garment. Like, why aren't you buying it? Is it the price, or is it that the garment is not working for you, or is it the lighting in this changing room? We can do this with CRO.
Yeah.
So I start just explaining this to them
without being creepy.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to see people naked, please. Really, I don't need that. But yeah, I start explaining this about the data and experimentation and all the things we can do. They get the idea and they get the product. And then when we start serving the service to the team, because we work with the team, we don't work for them, we work with them.
Yeah.
We need the client to work with us. They start getting the idea of CRO, getting the culture, getting the know-how, and they fall in love with it because they can participate.
Yeah.
And that's the way we do it, at least in our agency.
And I like the analogy, and it also helps people realize also when you're trying to convince management that if you compare it to a store, they immediately get, I need to keep investing in a store, and we need employees in the store. We need to change the promotions in the store. That's work you need to do. It's not just, we're not putting an e-commerce site live and done.
Exactly.
It helps if you that analogy helps with that. So, what is the biggest challenge you think when you work with those teams? What's the big challenge there in changing that mindset?
Well, I think it's difficult, that question, because there are many types of clients, right?
Yeah.
But one of the main things is changing the way we do the thinking. Like, many times there are people that have more authority, and they think their vision is right because they have authority.
Yeah.
And many of the decisions or the ideas are taken into account because of that. Because I think it will work, because I like it this way.
Yeah.
We have to just be able to make them feel comfortable, but getting the ideas to be data-based, data-informed. We can take into account, of course, the opinion of the people who have the experience, but it's difficult to get them to understand.
But it's just their experience.
Exactly.
Just their experience.
And when you get into a company where there are already all these structures that have been created, and these people that have a very important position and their opinion has been always heard without the necessity of bringing data.
Yeah.
And you make them understand that data is needed and we have to test it first. That's a very, very difficult step.
Yeah. And is getting to that data, is that a big challenge at those companies still? I mean, from my experience with working with those companies, you need quality data to be able to do CRO, but you don't always have the quality data to begin with.
Yeah. Well, there are many times when that's difficult too, you know, because they sometimes think like you're like a kind of a superhero that gets the data out of I don't know where. Yeah. And sometimes the tools are not already set to get the data that you need. And it's a lot of frustration there. Like, but I don't have the data. Yeah, but you must tell me that. And it's like, okay, but we have to fix the data first. And then And that's another kind of challenge, because it's a very psychological thing, that you have to make them understand that we first have to get the data working, and then we can start taking decisions.
Yeah.
But once people get comfortable working with it and understand the dynamic of getting data and building the tools, I think most of them fall in love with the process because they get results.
Yeah.
It's the results that get people in love, actually.
When is usually the moment when it starts clicking for people? Then they say, "Oh, this is what CRO is." Do you sometimes have that
Yes.
with those teams? Then how does that moment? When do they get there? How often does it take? Does it take a week? Does it take a month? Does it take 2 years?
It's very exciting when that happens, because it happens early,
Yeah.
luckily.
Yeah.
It happens, I think, in my experience, with the first report of results.
Okay. Yeah.
The first month is frustrating because we are doing analysis.
Yeah. Or you need to fix the data first.
Exactly. You need to fix the data. You need to do an audit and see what's happening and get the pain points and prioritize the backlog and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But when you execute the first 2 or 3 hypotheses and you bring them the results, it's like shine through their eyes. It's like, wow, this is bringing results. So that means that if I do this, I'm going to get this to be better. So I will, and they get like this rush inside and all this excitement, and they start like thinking about CRO like something that's going to bring their website to a new level.
Yeah.
But it takes a month and a little bit more of experimentation.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to manage this first month and a half, let's say, or 2 months of frustration and high expectations, because they have it. They have high expectations on this. They want it to be fast. They think everything that's digital is fast.
Yeah.
And you have to get them to lower that expectations, to just be patient. And when you show them the results, you will have them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and the downside, of course, is that with experimentation, it doesn't always lead to a big uplift. Well, first off, you can have experiments that are more like risk management. Like, okay, we want to maybe develop this. It's going to take half a year to develop it, but first let's validate the ID. So you're not running the risk of spending your development team for half an hour and paying for that and making something that doesn't work. On the other hand, just running experiments, just a small percentage of your experiments usually is only an uplift. So how do you mitigate that in the first periods? You say, okay, we have 2 months. Do you start with running like 20 experiments? So hopefully then there's a couple of in there that works, or how do you do that?
I really manage it in the first meetings.
Yeah.
In the commercial phase. I do that in the commercial phase. They usually ask me, what's this CRO project going to bring me? Can you do some numbers for me?
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I cannot do some numbers for you, because CRO is not about pushing a button and pulling it up. It's many micro conversions we're going to be working on, that many of them don't depend only on your website. Many of them depend on the pricing strategy. Many of them depend on the market status, on many things that are out of our hands. So I just spend a lot of time there, getting them to understand that it's not about pushing up the conversion rate. It's about getting more people to click on the grid, then getting more people to get the add to cart button, really convinced that they want to buy that garment.
Yeah.
And just micro conversions that are going to get you there little by little. So I spend a lot of time there in the commercial phase to get them to have real expectations about what it's going to look like and how it's going to work. And then when we are doing the testing, it's just about remembering that.
Yeah.
It's just about, we are working here, we are not working on the conversion rate today, we are working on the CTA add to cart.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
It's this micro conversion we're working on, and this might bring an uplift, but it's going to be small, and then we're going to work on another uplift, another little uplift, and that way we're going to get to something big.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be something big today.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, and the realization that CRO is not necessarily about those numbers in increasing. Okay, we're gonna improve your conversion by 20%, but it's about gaining the ability to figure out what your users actually need and want, and that should hopefully at least people understand that should bring a lot of value to your company. If is it gonna be 5% or 20%? Who knows?
We don't know. Exactly.
We don't know, but it is gonna bring value, and maybe it's not even gonna bring uplift, right? We talk about risk management, and maybe, especially last year, we've seen travel industries going down, but maybe it's not about going up, but it's about keeping the company alive, afloat at those moments. Like, okay, people cannot travel anymore, so what can we do?
Exactly.
How can we help them with the holiday feeling, maybe even when they're at home? That's what you do as a travel company, give some relaxation to people. So maybe that's something you can figure out and get to that point. What would be the best starting point? Because these are weird times for people. We don't know what's going to work, or what are people going to expect when they book their first hotel now. And that's what you can figure out with doing user research at this time.
Yeah, I think that's also something you can explain from the first time you meet. But in CRO and all these services, we have to constantly be educating people about what we can achieve.
Yeah.
Because that's true. It's not just about getting people to buy. It's about keeping people in love with your brand. It's about maybe having less returns. It's about maybe keeping people buying very constantly, even if they buy just a little bit, or just making them not forget about you. So, or think about you in this kind of crisis. So, CRO is not just about conversion. It's about keeping your business doing good business from the digital side.
Yeah.
And in order to make people understand this, we first have to bring results. I think it's just being able to keep on working and bring them results and keep them like in love with our work, and then give them a lot of information and share knowledge about what we do, so that they feel they understand it. Because sometimes we are very technical, we are just in our minds like trying to get the work done, and the client is not understanding. So they just get lost and think that they are not getting value, but it's about communication.
Yeah. And what would be your favorite thing when you first come to such a client, especially when they're not familiar with CRO? What's your favorite thing to do to get them to that insight? I mean, we of course we can run experiments, but where do you start with your research? Do you start with Google Analytics? Do you start with doing user research? Do you start looking at heat maps or surveys or? Well,
something is what we do, and another thing is what's my favorite thing. I mean, what we do is we don't have a specific way of working for every client.
Yep.
We just get to know the client. We try to understand their digital environment and all of the digital actives they have, and we just do an analysis of the data, of the user experience. We just bring it all together. That's an internal work we do. But my favorite thing to do, and this comes with big clients that have user service, telephone user service, I love when we get insights from the call center, because I get them to understand that CRO is not just about digital data or digital analytics. It's about getting the information to actionable insights. And many times we don't listen to the call center, and the call center is just the voice of the user. The user that's worried enough to call, which nowadays is a very, very big engagement. I'm getting my phone and calling someone when I have WhatsApp, when I have a chatbot, when I have an email. I'm calling you and telling you there's something I cannot do in your website. I have a problem here. Many times.
There's probably already a high emotion before they start calling you. Otherwise, they wouldn't be calling.
I mean, either they love you a lot,
Yeah.
or they are hating you deeply,
Yeah.
and they are calling you so that you know that they cannot do something and they have a problem. And when we get insights from the call center, I love it. I really love it because clients get to understand that what we do is not something just technical and just digital. It's about bringing all of the value you have in your company to actionable insights that bring your user a benefit. And that way you have a better conversion rate, you have better engagement, and you are offering them what they are looking for.
Yeah.
So that's my favorite.
Yeah, and often customer service also doesn't really, or might not have an idea about what you can change on the website. And they might be getting these calls, like maybe 30 calls about the same thing all day. And if you're just there for some I don't know, for a day, a month, just sit with them, talk with them, figure out what's going on.
Exactly.
Oh, you can just move that around so they don't call about this. Oh.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's it. And when you in the big fashion retail company I told you about, I worked there. I understood this because of Ricardo. He was a provider there.
Yeah.
And he told me, like, you can listen to the call center recordings. And I was working on other stuff and always in the background listening to recordings.
Oh, really? Yeah.
So sometimes I didn't get anything.
Yeah.
But many other times I got beautiful insights, and just telling the user that, hey, you know what, we can fix this. Thank you for telling me this. I can fix the website so that this doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
Maybe he's calling very angry about it and he hates the brand because of this. But when you say, I listen to you, I can do something about it, and it's the CRO team who is doing it, wow.
Yeah.
That brings back all of the good emotions and all of the compromise with your brand. And also the digital team feel they are doing something important for the user.
Yeah.
So it's a win-win everywhere.
Yeah, and also know about some companies that have a CRO team, and they sometimes they do these kind of challenges within the company. They send out an email to internally, and then show them, okay, we're going to do this A/B test, or we have done this A/B test. Which variant did you think won? So it's a kind of a which test won, but internally. And the experience is that usually the people at the call center are really good at predicting.
Exactly. Because they
better
are
than everyone else.
listening.
Because they are the one listening and actually talking to the clients on a daily, hourly basis.
Exactly.
And understand the frustration and what clients are what they want. So
Totally.
yeah, that's the lesson here, people. Please contact your own call center.
Please listen to your users. You have a call center. Listen the recordings.
Yeah, exactly. Do that. Andrea, thank you so much. Have fun here in Barcelona at the e-show, and talk to you soon.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Bye-bye.
Bye.